there, Simon from simonwoods.com. How do I entitle this? Unusual wines from Chile. Actually, not all that unusual. Let's just dig in and see where we get. They're things that don't fit into obvious brackets. So, for example, we start off with Cabernet Franc, Colchagua Valle, Yali, which is Ventisqueros, Vigna Ventisquero, one label from them. So it's a 2009 from Colchagua. Okay, this is going to be a challenge. How do I get through 7 Chilean wines without overusing the term blackcurrant pastels? Because it's a character I find in too many Chilean wines, and I don't mind a little bit of it, but when it's a dominant factor. But that's what I find here. A bit of earthiness, a bit of chocolatey richness, but blackcurrant pastels. When I think of what I want from Cabernet Franc, I want a bit of leafy freshness in there, and I don't find that here. I find that it feels like it's been produced in somewhere where it's just that little bit too warm, and any leafiness has been has been eradicated from the wine, and you're left with something which is okay as a wine, but which I'm really not jumping up and down about. Hey, sorry, Felipe and Co. Let's try the next one, which is Miguel Torres Cordillera, Carmenère, and Carmenère 50%, Merlot 35%, Petit Verdot 15%. So a bit older, a couple of years older, and some more varieties in there. Let's give it a whirl. Now, it's not the blackcurrant pastel here. I get a minty character, and a mintiness I almost associate more with places like Australia, and for me, mint is, in a small amount it's good, large amount it's bad. I just notice it here. I wouldn't say we're a positive or a negative, but I notice it. Other thing I notice, slightly herbal characters. There's obviously 2 years more time in bottle, so there's a softer, more leathery character to the fruit, and there's a plummy richness, and it's moved away from the blackcurrant pastel, and it smells like it's going to be a more complete wine. For me, Carmenère is always something that you need to blend. By itself, it's what I call a drum solo wine. It's sort of like very loud, and you think, well, can you stop now? Can the rest of the band come in? I'd almost wish that they'd put a little bit more of the other varieties in there, because the Carmenère character, this herbal intensity, is coming through just a little bit too strongly for me there. I'd almost have liked, strange, we've got some Carignan coming up at the end of this lineup, and I'd almost have liked something that's got a little bit more earthy, profound, but yeah, a bit more rustic in there, along with the Carmenère intensity. Carmenère is like someone you don't want to be trapped on a table at a party with, or you don't want to be stuck in a lift with. Let's see what the next one's like, which is all Carmenère. Yeah, it's back to Yali. Gran Reserva Carmenère from Maipo, 3 Lagoons. Okay, a few things I noticed. One of them, what I call the green flash pump oak. That slightly rubbery oak character. That really comes through strongly. Next thing, Carmenère by itself, as I was saying, drum solo wine. That I really wish that there were some more of other things in there. I think you're allowed, it depends on where you're selling the wine, but I think if it says Carmenère, you're allowed up to 15%. And in some countries 25% of other varieties in here, but I'd almost rather see Carmenère being like 25% of a wine in conjunction with other things. And the final thing is ripeness. It feels like it's been made in a quite warm, torrid place, and so you're getting this juicy plump ripeness. And is it going to be great? Well, let's see. I can't fault it for intensity, but I don't want to drink it. I think that's the bottom line. There are things that are that is an impressive wine, but yeah, I don't want to drink it. There's a hardness about it. There's this Carmenère herbal character that I want to see calmed down by other varieties. Oh dear. Hey. I don't like not liking people's wines, especially when they're people I like. I really like the Ventisquero people, but sometimes their wines don't do it for me. Vigna Maipo, Gran Devoción, Carmenère, Syrah, Maule Valle, 2008. And so, of course, it says Vigna Maipo, and it's from the Maule Valley, which, of course, makes sense. Now, this smells, it's an intriguing smell, actually, because there's a very floral, almost a Gewürztraminer-like character, very perfumed character. If someone had said there was a bit of Viognier in the blend here, I would have believed them. Red fruits are almost like secondary to weird things like, what are those star fruit called? Those ones that have got the green outside. But yeah, like just star fruit. Let's just call them that. Yeah, you know what I mean. But it's got this exotic Carmenère spice, enlivened by something else. It feels like it's weird. I can smell hardness here. I feel like when I taste it, it's going to have been over acidified. So hey, set them up. Let's knock them down. Actually, it's a bit better than that. I still find it trying too hard to be upfront and yapping puppy-like, rather than relaxed and confident and juicy and drinkable. But don't mind it as a wine, prefer it to the one before, but still feel that there is a hardness about it, something which has missed out on the point of wine. And the point of wine for me is not to impress, but the point of wine is to finish the bottle and think, I'd like some more, rather than, phew, I'm glad I've finished it. I don't want to put too much more of that in my mouth, for example, at the moment. I know that there'll be lots of people who will love it, but at the moment it's just a bit too juvenile, and you think, come on, let's grow up, make something a bit more profound. And price, $12.99. I want profundity at $12.99. Let's see whether I get profundity in the Agostinos Syrah from the Cachapual 2008 Reserva Privado. So part of the Corpora group, whose other labels include Veranda, Viña Porta, Gracia de Chile, and... Okay, now I'm sure someone squeezed some sausage meat into this wine. There is what I call the sage sausage meat, raw sausage meat character coming through, and in small amounts, good. Here it feels ever so slightly starting to dominate the wine, but I'd rather have that aromatic character than some of the other aromatics we've been getting so far. Fruit behind, I just wish it was again a little bit more grown up. And what I mean by a little bit more grown up is I taste it and I get that blackcurrant pastel again. I get no shortage of intensity of fruit flavours, but not all that much complexity. It's like a flavour spike rather than lots and lots of different bits going on in there. Again, I work in progress, it feels like to me. I like that sagey aroma, but I just wish that there was a little bit more gentleness about the wine. But hey, okie doke. Wine number 6, Casa Silva, Quinta Generación, so 5th generation, Carmenère, Cabernet, Syrah, Petit Verdot, limited edition. I'm always sceptical about people who put limited edition on the wine, and Dom Perignon is limited edition, and how many bottles of that do they make each year? But let's not be cynical, let's just stick our noses in and see how we get on. This feels like young, unknit wine. So it's coming up for its 3rd birthday. We're in March now, so it was about 3 years ago that the grapes were picked. And it feels like it's a wine that, work in progress. I like the aromatic edges, the Carmenère and the Syrahs coming through, and I like the way in which the Carmenère is not dominating, but it's adding character and spice. And I like the way in the Syrah's adding its herby perfume, but it feels like it's going to be a bit young and gawky. So stick it in our mouth and see how we get on. It's strange that there's almost a gin-like quality there. What I mean by that is when spirit hits wood, there is some sort of type of reaction that takes place. You see it in things like Calvados, you see it in things like some fruit liqueurs, and you see it here. It feels like the wood was... I'm not a big fan of over-toasted oak, but I'm just wondering whether here some of the oak could have been toasted that a little bit more, or maybe some of the barrels... It may be that the barrels in the first place were not as great as some barrels could be. Maybe they could have used some older barrels. It feels gawky it feels like work in progress, and I think that for a wine, yes, you taste young wines, you taste young Burgundy, you taste young Bordeaux, you taste young Chianti, you taste young wine from anywhere, and they are always works in progress if they're in their youth. But there should always be something slightly, this essence of completeness. Here it feels like there are bits that have been bolted on. It doesn't feel like there is an entire wine here. It feels just that little bit, Lego wine. Can't fault the intensity, but can fault the whole. Let's see whether the final wine. Frappes my bouton. Santa Carolina. So dry farming, Carignan, Valle de Cauquenes. There's quite a few people who are drawing Carignan from the same vineyard. I don't know whether this is the same vineyard, but Cauquenes. So I stick my nose in here. For me, Carignan is great as a component in a wine. It adds smoky richness, it adds pepper, it adds freshness, but it always needs, it's almost like Carignan's the skeleton. Well, in Roussillon, for example, Carignan, lots of Carignan in Roussillon. Carignan's the skeleton, Grenache is the flesh, and you need a mixture of the two. This smells good, but I would almost want something like Merlot or Grenache to flesh out the bones. And it tastes okay. I mean, I think about where Carignan grows in southern France, and Corbière. When you go Carignan there, it gets this raisiny character, and you're getting that there. As I say, I think that Carignan needs something else to go with it. By itself, it makes an interesting wine, but not necessarily a great wine. So, hey, it's been I have to say, a slightly disappointing set of wines, but not an uninteresting selection. But favourites, hey, I do like that Carignan. I like the Cordillera, and I think the Agostina Syrah with work looks promising. And the Quinta Generación, well, maybe I'll report back on that, because I think there's a wine wanting to come out of its shell there, but not doing it today. See you soon.